I would never put ice on anything. I just wouldn't. I've never used it in 30 years. Don't see the point. I take it back. There would be one point I would use ice. So I did say never, and I'm going to change that. If I'm trying to activate or turn on a muscle or a nervous system, I would do that because it makes things contract. If I'm trying to get a muscle that's a little flaccid to actually contract a little bit, then I'll put ice on it because I don't get that to happen. Otherwise, for sports injuries, I just don't use ice, and I'll tell you why. If I have the area and it's all swollen and it's congested, do I want more congestion? It'd be as simple as you're on, the freeway, I-10, and there's only 3 lanes. You're like, man, this traffic is terrible. And and it's so congested, and you hear that they're gonna drop it down to 1 lane, going each way. That's insanity. What they need to do is open it up to 5, get rid of the congestion. So with congestion, I'm not gonna get as many nutrients in, but I'm also not gonna get rid of the waste material. So that's why I like heat. Now, along with the heat, I also then will do Epsom salt bath because Epsom salt is anti-inflammatory, but it's also a muscle relaxer, so I'll do that. And I'll also use all the Chinese herbs patches that I use that are anti-inflammatory and tissue regenerating from Way Labs. Do I use heat? I always use heat in every instance. You could also alternate ice and heat. I don't have a problem with that, but I would always use heat on any sports injury, and I personally wouldn't use ice even after surgery. You could do it other ways. I'm not saying like you only can do it one way, but if you're going to alternate it, the thing I like about ice and heat is that you're constricting and then dilating, and then you're constricting and you're dilating. So you're getting a good pumping action. It's almost like you're moving the muscle through a range of motion, but you're not, right? Because you're just doing it through blood flow, but not through muscle activity. So you could do that as far as alternating. People might say, oh, I use the Game Ready, which is this pump that puts ice cold water if you put ice in the container, and then it pressurizes it and it puts pressure on your legs, let's say for your knee or your shoulder. So it's a wrap. The problem, or the thing about that is what's really probably helping you is the compression. But remember, I've talked about compression before. The compression needs to be a very light compression. If it goes to, let's say, 7, maybe you only do a 2. If it goes to 10, maybe you do a 1, between a 1 and a 3 on that level of compression so that it's not going to close down your lymphatic vessels. So if I alternated ice and heat, the way I would do that is I would start with heat and I would end with heat.